Ayan. So, good day, class. For today's discussion, we are going um, to discuss about the concepts of object-oriented programming. So, first, the programming paradigms. We are going to compare the two paradigms, procedural and object-oriented programming. Sabi dito, procedural programming style is a style of programming in which the programming task is broken down into a series of operations called procedures applied to data. Apply the data. For example, examples of procedural programming is C and Pascal. Um, Here, dito sa procedural programming, isipin nyo lang na parang we are breaking the program into procedures. Yung kung saan sila nag-ooperate ng data. Um, Procedural programming emphasizes procedures, gaya nga sabi ko kanina, and the sequence of steps to perform a task. Isipin nyo para kayong sumusunod sa recipe kapag nagluluto. Mayroong step by step. However, object-oriented programming is said to model the characteristics and behavior of the real world. Kapag sinabi nating OOP, minomodel niya yung real-world entities by defining objects with data and behaviors. Yun. Mahalaga sa OOP is yung object natin at yung kanilang behaviors. Ito, instead of focusing on what the system has to do, OOP focuses on what objects the system contains and how they interact towards solving the programming problem. Yan. Examples of OOP. Ito yung mga programming language natin na gumagamit ng OOP. Java, C++, Python, and C#. Ayan. So, ano nga ba yung advantages ng OOP? First one is it provides a clear modular structure for programs, which makes it good for defining abstract data types where implementation details are hidden and the unit has clearly defined interface. Basically, sinasabi lang dito na dapat ay kapag na ang OOP ay merong clear structure and organization. Parang it helps breaking down a program into smaller reusable pieces, making it easier to understand. Next, it makes it easy to maintain and modify existing codes. Tandaan nyo, to maintain and modify existing codes as new objects can be created with small differences from existing ones. Dito naman, it is easy to update and maintain. You can modify or add new features without affecting existing code too much. For example, we have a car. We have an object car. You can create another feature, for example, sports car, by just adding extra features instead of starting from scratch. Kumbaga, kunyari yung car, lalagyan mo lang siya ng something, parang nare-reuse or kaya nating i-modify nang wala masyadong binabago sa code natin. Nagdadagdag lang. Last, it provides a good framework for code libraries where supplied software components can be easily adopted and modified by the programmer. It's particularly useful for developing graphical user interfaces. Sabi ko kanina, reusable. It can be easily adapted and modified. Yan. Great example is, kunyari, mga buttons sa ating mga UI, pwede natin siyang gamitin sa iba't ibang parts ng application natin. Next, key OOP concepts or ang ating concepts of OOP. Yan. Meron tayong object, class, inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, and encapsulation. Okay, let's continue. First, in our key concepts is object. Object is an entity that has state and behavior. It can be physical or logical. Object is made up of attributes at saka ng methods. attributes are yung state, and yung methods ay yung behavior. Um, Sabi dito yung attributes daw yung characteristics na nagde-define sa kung ano yung object. Tapos, yung methods naman is yung kung ano yung ginagawa ng object natin. Example, a car's attribute are color, model, year, and purchase price. And yung mga method naman na ginagawa ng car ay forward, backward, tsaka stop. To better understand it, meron tayo here. Meron tayo ditong car na object. Kotse ko. Yung car daw ay mayroong model, manufacturer, type, tsaka color. Ito yung tinatawag nating attributes or yung state. Yung model natin ay sedan, tapos manufacturer Toyota, type manual, tapos color ay black. Tapos, ito namang nasa baba ay yung mga methods natin or yung behavior ng ating object. Sabi dito, yung kotse daw ay kayang mag-park, mag-reverse, mag-neutral, drive, tsaka low. Gets ba? Ayan. So, paano nga ba tayo gumawa or mag-create ng object? Example, we have here the class name employee, tapos susundan siya ng ating object name, which is my emp. This is an instance of the class employee, no? Tandaan natin na tong first, ito yung class natin. Tapos, object name equals ang ating new operator or new keyword. Tapos, then yung call of constructor natin. Ayan. Class name, object name, new keyword, tapos constructor call. Okay, next. Class. Sabi dito, a class is a blueprint for creating objects, providing initial values for state and implementations of behavior. It is a term that describes a group or collections of objects with common properties. It defines a type of object. Ulit. For example, we have a car class. Think of a class as a mold for making cars. Every car made from the mold will have the same structure but different details. For example, we have a class car, then meron siyang iba't ibang types. Kunyari, Mitsubishi, Toyota, ganon. To further understand it, meron tayo dito saan yun? Start. Here, sabi dito, a class is a blueprint for creating objects, di ba? Providing initial values for state and implementations of behavior. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina. Meron tayo dito ang class of cars, tapos meron siyang iba't ibang type, which is yung class, Mitsubishi, Honda, yon. Ganun lang naman siya kasimple. Okay, next. Yung ating class ay mayroong iba't ibang variable types. First one is local variables. Next, instance variables, tapos class variables. Yung local variable natin, it is declared inside methods or constructors and used only within that scope. So, ibig sabihin, dun lang siya. Hindi siya pwede lumabas. Next, instance variables. It is declared inside the class but outside methods and they are unique to each object. Tapos, class variables, it is declared with the static keyword and shared across all objects of the class. Para maintindihan natin, check natin itong example. Yan. Meron tayo ditong class employee. Tapos, ito yung ating instance variables. It is, sabi dito, each object gets its own copy. For example, ang employee daw, meron siyang name, meron siyang salary, meron siyang position, tsaka age. Ito yung ating mga instance variables. Next naman ay ang ating class variable. It is shared among all objects. Yan no. Tandaan nyo na ang ating class variable ay laging merong keyword na static. Ito, dito, binigyan siya ng value na string, which is yung TechCorp. Next is local variable. Ito naman yung mga variable na yung sinasabi kanina na nasa loob lang siya ng method or ng constructor. And dun lang siya pwedeng i-access. Sa block of code na to, ang ating local variable ay yung salary. If mapapansin nyo, dito lang siya magagamit sa method na to or sa constructor. Ayan. So, for example, tinry nating gamitin yung salary sa line 20, hindi natin siya magagamit kasi hindi siya declared sa code sa block of code na to. So, pang dito lang siya. Yun lang. Next, constructors. Tandaan nyo na ang ating class, every class, ay merong at least one constructor. Each time a new object is created, at least one constructor will be invoked. The main rule of constructor is that they should have the same name as the class, and a class can have more than one constructor. Isa pa sa function ng constructors natin ay mag-initialize. Ayan. Mamaya malalaman nyo na kung anong kinaiba niya sa method. Kasi mukha siyang parehas, pero hindi. Ayan. Example. Ayan. Meron tayo ditong class na employee constructor. Tapos, tama. Tapos meron tayo ditong constructors dito. Ayan. Yung isa ay walang parameter and yung isa ay meron. Diba sabi kanina, yung rule sa ating constructors ay dapat same name siya with the class. Okay? If mapapansin nyo, dito, parehas naman sila ng name, diba? Pero magkaiba sila kapag kinol na natin dahil meron silang different parameters. Ayan. Tapos, same lang ng kanina. This is how we create an object. So, next. Okay. Now, let's start with inheritance. Inheritance in Java is a mechanism in which one object acquires all the properties and behaviors of a parent object. It is an important part of OOPs. It represents the is-a relationship, which is also known as a parent-child relationship. Isipin nyo lang sa inheritance, para kang merong minamana. Meron kang in-inherit. Ganyan. Why use inheritance? First is for method overriding, and next is for code reusability. Ayan, for example, this one. We have here a parent class, employee, na merong protected keyword here sa loob ng class na to. Tapos meron din tayong child class na nag-extend sa employee. Kapag nakita natin itong word na extends, ibig sabihin, ini-inherit ng class programmer yung lahat ng instances na meron itong employee. In this case, itong salary. Dito sa child class, makikita natin na wala naman siyang salary right. Pero, since nag-extend tayo, in-inherit natin yung employee, ibig sabihin magagamit natin lahat ng kung anong meron sa class na to. So, here, Sa line number 13, nagamit natin tong salary ng class employee. Gets ba? So, kapag pinrint natin siya, ayan, programmer salary is 40,000 and bonus of programmer is 10,000. Paano kapag inalis natin to? Ayan, makikita nyo, nag-error tong salary. Kasi, hindi na ini-inherit ng programmer yung lahat ng instances na meron yung kanyang parent class, which is yung employee. Gets ba? Okay, next. Meron tayong iba't ibang types ng inheritance. First one is single. When a class extends another one class only, then we call it a single inheritance. The below flow diagram shows that class B extends only one class, which is A. Here, A is the parent class of B and B would be a child of class A. Ayan, gaya lang nung diniscuss ko kanina. Yan. Bale, tong class B, in-inherit niya lang yung class A. So, direct lang siya. Ayan. Bali dito, si class B, in-inherit niya nga yung instances ng class A. So, pwede na natin gamitin tong method A dito sa loob ng class na to. Ganun lang siya kasimple. Ayan. Mapapansin nyo dito, mayroon tayong object. Tapos, ayan, object, tapos dot, tong constructor call, para matawag natin tong method na to. Gets ba? Ngayon, ganun lang siya kasimple. Sobrang direct niya lang. Kasi nga, single lang. Kumbaga, minana mo lang kung ano yung meron yung magulang mo. Okay, so, next is multiple inheritance. Sabi dito, Java does not support multiple inheritance with classes to avoid ambiguity problems. However, Java supports multiple inheritance through interfaces. Ayan. Makikita natin yung ano natin here, D ay ang ating parent class, tapos C at E ay ang ating child class, and ini-inherit niya yung mga instances ni D. Ganun yung logic ng multiple inheritance. Pero sabi nga na Java does not support multiple inheritance, so kailangan natin gumamit ng interfaces para magawa to. For example, here we have here interface A na may method A and interface C na may method C. Here, class B implements A and it implements C. Ayan, pag meron tayong interface, ang gagamitin natin ay implements imbis na extends. So, mapapansin nyo sa class B, pwede na natin gamitin yung ating method A. Tapos, ayan. So, what will happen if we remove implements A from class B? Ano nga bang mangyayari? If alisin man natin to, magkakaroon tayo ng compilation error kapag nira natin yung code. Kasi, method A is defined in class B, which is here, but is no longer implementing A. Since A is an interface and this class B is no longer bound to it, Java will not enforce class B to provide method A. The method A becomes a regular method in this class, but it is not recognized anymore as implementing A. Yan. Yun lang. Ayun ang multiple inheritance sa Java. Tandaan na we use interface at saka implements. Gets? Okay, next. Next is we have multi-level inheritance. A multi-level inheritance refers to a mechanism in technology where one can inherit from a derived class, thereby making this derived class the base class for the new class. As you can see in below flow diagram, C is a subclass of or child class of B, then B is a child class of A. Ayan, tayo. Multi-level. Makikita nyo dito, class A, then class B extends to A, and then class C extends to B. Basically, class C extends to B. Basically, si C, parang kinukuha niya lang yung, ini-inherit niya lang lahat ng meron si B. Si B, in-inherit niya si A. So, yung in-inherit ni B kay A ay ma-access din ni C. Gets ba? So, kumbaga, si A, in-inherit siya ni B, tapos si C, in-inherit niya si B, si B, in-inherit niya si A, so lahat, ito, makukuha siya ni C. Ganun lang. Kasi, kung anong meron si B, meron na din si C. Gets? Ayan. Isa-isayin natin. Dito sa class C, meron tayong regular method na C, which is inside the class C. Tapos, dito sa default, sa main method natin, gumawa tayo ng object from na class C, which is object, obj. Tapos, mapapansin nyo na dito, si method C, kaya niyang tawagin si method A, tsaka si method B, which is from its parent class. Tapos, ito yung parent class ni B. So, basically, parang nagiging chain lang siya. Kumbaga, ikaw, parang may minana ka pa sa lola mo. Yung minana ng nanay mo sa nanay niya ay minana mo din. Parang ganun lang. Eto, si method A nandito sa class A, kahit na hindi naman siya extended here, pero kasi si B ay in-inherit niya si A, so technically si C may inherit niya yon. Ganon yung logic ng multi-level inheritance. Okay, next is hierarchical. When more than one classes inherit a same class, then this is called hierarchical inheritance. For example, class B, C, and D extends a same class A. Ito yung diagram representation niya. So, meron tayong parent class na A, tapos lahat ng classes na to ay nag-inherit sa isang parent class. Kaya siya tinawag na hierarchical. For example, saan yun? Ito. Meron tayo ditong parent class na A, tapos child class na B, C, and D. And if mapapansin nyo, lahat sila ay in-inherit si A. Ganun lang. Bale, different classes na mag-inherit sa isang parent class. Ayan, object 1, object 2, object 3 from different classes. Then, ayan, all classes can access the method of class A. Para lang siyang single, pero madaming single. Uy. Ayan. Next, hybrid. In simple terms, you can say that hybrid inheritance is a combination of single and multiple. So, parang pinagsama mo lang yung single kanina at saka yung multiple na gumagamit ng interface. So, parang normal na may kasamang ganun. Example, para mas maintindihan nyo. Dito. if mapapansin nyo, dito kay class D, nag-extend siya sa A, tapos in-implement niya pa si B. Kaya siya naging hybrid. So bale, si class D, since gagamit na yung A, pwede na natin tong ma-access tong method na to. Tapos si A, in-implement niya si B. So technically, magagamit na din natin tong method na show B. Basta tandaan nyo lang sa interface, wala tayong body, and mostly ay wala siyang laman. So parang kapag meron tayong ganito, ibig sabihin nire-require niya yung method na nagtawag sa kanya or nag-inherit sa kanya, nire-require niya na gawin tong method na to. Ayun. Gets ba? Okay. Madali lang naman. So, parang technically, pinagsama mo lang yung normal tsaka tong sa multiple. Okay. Next concept of OOP, we have encapsulation. Encapsulation is a process of wrapping code and data together into a single unit. For example, a capsule which is mix of several medicines. The whole idea behind encapsulation is to hide the implementation details from the users. If a data member is private, it means it can only be accessed within the same class. No outside class can access private data member of other classes. Sabi dito, encapsulation is also known as data hiding. Pag sa encapsulation, tandaan nyo na meron tayong tinatago. Merong private keyword tayong gagamitin. For example, we have here the class encapsulation. Ayan. If mapapansin nyo, meron tayo ditong private variables. It means that it cannot be accessed directly from outside the class. Dito sa encaps test na class natin, if mapapansin nyo, wala namang parang bale hindi niya to kayang magamit kasi nga outside class siya magkaiba sila ng class. So anong gagawin natin para tong class na encaps test ay magamit niya tong mga private value or private variables. Dun papasok yung ating getter sa setter. Sabi dito, ang setter daw, or yan, these methods allow controlled modification of private variables. Tapos yung getter naman, ayan. So, bale, ang tawag doon, ang logic lang nila, parang sineset mo yung value, tapos kukuhanin mo. So, dito, gawa tayo dito ng empage na may value na new value. Tapos, since ayun na yung value niya, pwede na siyang kuhanin gamit yung method na to. Like here, line 46. Line 43 muna tayo. Dito, nag-set tayo ng value ng name, which is yung Janet. Tapos, since sinawag natin tong method na to, binigyan natin ng value na Janet, yung emp name natin, which is this, ay nabibigyan siya ng value na Janet. It's ba? Tapos, since meron na siyang value na Janet, pwede na natin siyang kuhanin. Ayan. Sabi dito, sa line 46, pinrint niya yung employee name gamit tong method na to. Ayun lang. So, bale, kapag ganito, gagamit tayo ng setter tsaka ng getter. Ayan, bale, public int, tapos get, tapos yung name ng method, tapos return value. So, bale, sa set method, dun tayo nagbibigay ng value. Tapos, dito naman sa getter, dun tayo nagbabalik or nagbibigay. Next, ayun lang. Tandaan nyo sa inheritance, nag-inherit tayo or may minamana. Sa encapsulation, tayo naman ay nagtatago ng value. Eto. Ano nga ba yung advantages ng encapsulation? Sabi dito, by providing only a setter or getter method, you can make the class read only or write only. In other words, you can skip the getter or setter methods. It provides you the control over the data. It is a way to achieve data hiding in Java because other class will not be able to access the data through private data members. Ayun nga, gaya nung kanina nating example, gumamit tayo ng private na keyword para dun sa ating mga variables. Tapos, the encapsulate class is easy to test, so it is better for unit testing. The standard IDEs are providing the facility to generate the getters and setters, so it is easy and fast to create encapsulated class in Java. Yung iba nating mga IDEs like IntelliJ or like Eclipse, kapag gumawa tayo ng class, tapos naglagay tayo ng mga private values or variables, automatic na siyang nagkakaroon ng getter tsaka setter. So, hindi tayo nahihirapan kung ano nga ba yung need nating gawan kasi automatic na siya. Pero syempre, yung logic sa loob ng method na yon or yung code sa loob ng method, tayo yung gagawa. Parang pinaprovide lang nila yung mismong method with method name tapos return null. Yun. Next, abstraction. Abstraction is the process of hiding certain details and showing only essential information to the user. Abstraction can be achieved with either abstract classes or interfaces. And the abstract keyword is a non-access modifier used for classes methods. Here, meron tayong abstract class, tapos meron tayong abstract method. Tandaan nyo na every abstract class ay merong abstract method. Hindi yun nawawala. Okay. Para mas maintindihan natin, example. Here. We have here, sige, burahin muna natin to. Yan. Uncomment. I-comment ko na lang. Dito, we have here an abstract class, animal. Tapos sabi ko nga kanina, an abstract class ay meron dapat siyang abstract method. Ang ating abstract method ay walang body. Always remember that. Abstract class, may abstract method. Tapos yung abstract method ay walang body. Tapos meron din tayo ditong regular method, which is yung sleep lang. So, subclass. Meron tayo ditong class pig na ini-inherit yung animal. So, paano nangyayari yung sa abstract dito? Kapag meron tayong abstract, wait lang. If mapapansin nyo, meron din tayo ditong method na animal sound. Kasi nga, kapag meron tayong abstract class na ini-inherit, yung abstract method dun, parang nire-require tayo na gamitin tong method na to. Kumbaga, pag may in-inherit tayo na abstract class, parang, anong tawag doon? Dapat ay gawin natin siya. Dapat i-implement natin siya sa class na to. Gets ba? So, sige, ulitin ko. Meron tayong class pig na in-inherit yung instances ng animal. So, bale, since si animal ay merong abstract method na animal sound, kailangan mong i-implement tong method na to dito sa subclass mo. Gets? Ayan, for example, yung pig, meron siyang animal sound, diba? So, kailangan niya tong i-print. Dagdag tayo ng example. which is yung class dog na nag-extends din sa animal, sa class animal. Ayan. Since meron nga tayo ditong abstract method, ire-require niya yung class na dog na i-implement din yung method na animal sound. Gets? So, if gusto pa natin siyang dagdagan, kunyari cat, meow meow, ganyan lang siya kasimple. So, bale, abstract class, may abstract method. Pag nag-call tayo ng abstract class, yung abstract method natin ay dapat implemented din doon sa class, sa ating mga subclasses na nag-inherit sa animal. Gets ba? Yung kala mo may kausap. So, bale, isipin nyo lang na itong mga subclass yung gagawa ng implementation para dun sa method, sa ating abstract method. Ayan. Next, polymorphism. Polymorphism means many forms, and it occurs when we have many classes that are related to each other by inheritance. In inheritance, we inherit attributes and methods from another class, and polymorphism uses those methods to perform different tasks. This allows us to perform a single action in different ways. Yung example natin kanina sa abstract, this is an example of polymorphism. Kasi if mapapansin nyo, meron tayong animal, then yung animal ay may iba't ibang forms. Pwede siyang maging pig, dog, tsaka cat. Ayun lang yung logic or yung meaning ng polymorphism. Meron siyang isang class, tapos yung class may iba't ibang features. Like for example, pig, nasabi niya, or ang sound niya ay wiwi, tapos yung dog ay arf arf, tapos yung cat ay meow meow. Ayan. Okay, that's all for this discussion. And sana ay may natutunan kayo. And if ever na meron mang parte na magulo or hindi clear para sa inyo, wag kayong mahiyang magtanong sa akin. Yun lang. Salamat.